What's up, everybody? It is Matt Aguito. Wanted to have a nice, short conversation, civil convo with a friend of mine, Karen Foster. So you guys have seen her in the past. She was on my interracial, conversation. I think it was maybe about 5 or 6 weeks ago or something like that, maybe almost 2 months, where we focused on interracial couples, blended families, and it was really cool to have her on. But kind of a small elephant in the room was her name. And her and I have talked about this on and off for a while now, especially because of the way things are in society when it comes to labels. And a big label right now that's used is Karen. And ironically and interestingly enough, that is her name. So thank you, Karen, for joining me in this civil conversation.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So just to jump right on in, what I find is that like labels, names, people come up with them just for whatever reason. It may be for humor, for insults, for, it could be whatever, right? Identification. But, we've become a society now that throws things out there, and I guess I want to get your take on this because you are Karen, and I would not call you a Karen. And there's a reason why I'm saying that like that. But what is this like? When you see Karen slung all over the place and this is your name, like, what is this like for you?
I mean, I guess it's just like any other insult, I mean, you don't want to take it personal because like, well, that's not me. That doesn't describe me. But yet when you're constantly seeing it every single day, I mean, it's just like any other disparaging word or insult that, could apply to you, but doesn't, I'm not saying it's the same as a racial thing, but, if people are making racial comments and it's your race, of course you're going to feel a sting, even if like, well, that doesn't apply to me. That's not me. You feel that. And so, I think the Karen thing originated with like some viral video and the woman's name happened to be Karen. So it's gone into this whole, like, don't be a Karen, don't be that. I mean, and it's crazy because, now, say if I'm at a restaurant, I mean, this actually happened last weekend. I was at a restaurant and when the waitress brought my food over, the bread on the plate fell on the table. She picked it up with her bare hand and put it back on my plate. And, I'm sitting there like, okay, do I say anything? Because if I complain about this, I'm a Karen, it's me, so like legit circumstances happen. And I'm like, let me not perpetuate the stereotype. Let me just back up. And so, yeah, I mean, you do take it personal, even if you don't want to take it personal.
Yeah. And that's got to be an interesting like dynamic, right? Because you're muzzled in some cases because of the fact that that's your name. And
right.
and that's not, you're not speaking for everybody named Karen out there. Like first off, I know Black Karens, I know Asian Karens. What I think is interesting is that like some people have made fun of it. I don't know if you've seen the meme. I think we passed it to each other where the person saying, hi, my name is Karen. Can I speak to the manager of racial injustice or something like that? Or whatever.
Yeah. Or like, Karens against racism, like that type of thing. Yeah. And I know there are some white Karens because, I mean, several months ago when this really started blowing up, I did, kind of a Facebook post of like, hey, y'all can chill with that because, it does hurt. And, there was like a friend of mine that's Karen who commented, she was like, oh, I think they're funny, but it's just like anything else. I mean, and I think that's something else bigger as our society. If we say something is hurtful, you don't get to say, no, it's not.
Yeah.
If I'm saying, hey, that is hurtful to me, you don't have a right to go, oh, well, no, it's just a joke. I mean, that's actually kind of our narcissistic mentality that we have now is that, oh, it's just a joke. Well, no, I'm telling you, it's hurtful, know?
And I think sometimes it's hard because you do have this thing where, like you brought up, there's another Karen who doesn't mind.
Right.
And it's almost like it may, now that person's not wrong for saying it doesn't hurt them.
Right.
But when they say it in response to someone who is hurt, I don't think that they realize that they're enabling the behavior of someone who doesn't want to stop.
Right. Exactly.
And
I've heard it, I also had someone who equated to like, oh, well, as if you never said, listen, Linda, or you never said bye Felicia. And I'm like, okay, I get the point of what they're trying to say, but neither of those things are said as an insult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, and I mean, what did you say?
Well, sometimes bye Felicia is like, because that's like when somebody is, it's not a name calling as much as it is to get out of my face or
just go
away or bye Felicia. Yeah. But I'm with you in that regard, because it's like, it is now thrown out there. I mean, it's to a point right now, there's Halloween masks.
Yeah, you told me that. That's crazy. I mean, what is that? Like, I mean, and then that's a whole like other stereotype. Like, how do you make a mask that's a person, that's a name? Like, that's
and it's not a pretty sight. I mean, I it's literally looks like a horror mask with like blonde streaky hair, and it's Karen.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people find that funny, but it's hard. For me, it's been difficult because, like in the past, I would say when it first came out, I used it a couple times, and I was kind of like, well, I got a good friend named Karen. I'm not going to use that. So I stopped, right? And you're probably the sole reason why I don't even really use it. But at the same time, it's like it's gotten to a level now where it's now literally, if you do anything and you happen to be a white woman,
you're a Karen.
You're Karen.
Don't be a Karen.
Don't be a Karen. But I think the problem that they're trying to address is legitimate. I think that's the sad part about it. I mean, what do you think about that when you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, don't be that person, don't be, but it's sad that there's like this name that's gotten attached to it. Like you can call out a behavior without putting someone's name to it.
Yeah. And I think, sliding over to just like labels in general, they're good labels, they're bad labels, they're funny labels, they're serious labels out there. But I think it's to a point now where we've become a society that is quick to insult when we don't want to understand or
I'll say, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's easier to do that than try to seek understanding.
Yeah, it is easier. And, it's, let's take the masks, for example. No matter what side anybody's on, I've literally seen people say, well, you're a mask wearer. Or on the other side, it's like, well, you're anti-masker.
Yeah, it's an insult now. Yeah.
It's an insult, you know? And it's like, why do we do that? I don't know. I think it's just our way of just being able to win an argument or...
I think it's part of how we just operate as people. Like, we have to put people in certain categories, like I don't know why we do that, but we do. It's just, I mean, there's the whole political, well, are you this or this, or, I mean, like, want people to fit into a certain box. And like, if we know one detail about them, we form a whole identity around what the rest of the person is like.
That's true.
I've always hated when you meet someone, like, say, as a believer, and they say, well, what church do you go to? Why does it matter? Because if we know that church, then we want to put, oh, okay, so you go to that church, that means you're like this and this and this. We want to put people in a certain category.
Yeah, and we're quick to do that, for almost anything.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, really quick to do that about anything. And that's where it becomes very, difficult to maintain like healthy relationships, I think, with people, because you're unable to know, like, what do I say about myself? How have you been with like the family and the kids? Like, how have the kids been with not just the Karen piece, but even in labels? Do you feel like it's hard to manage? Do they have an opinion? What's your take on that?
Do you have an opinion about like the name Karen being used as an insult?
Yeah, I do.
What is it? Come here.
We're gonna get a live a child's point of view.
What's your take on that when you hear people use my name as an insult?
Because my mom's name is Karen, it's really weird for me. I'm like, not all people who are named Karen are like that. Sometimes I understand it, but I don't enjoy when they talk about it, because I'm like, well, that's not all people named Karen. That's a stereotype.
For her, it's a your mama joke.
And then I have to...
I got you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, we won't get into that. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Thank you for your insight. That's That's important.
You know, I
Do
mean,
you go ahead?
well, I was just saying, I mean, we put so many labels in general, you know, like we just want to size someone up by a label and that's it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they have to fit this and then that's it.
Yeah. And you know, when you know earlier your point that you brought up around like church and stuff, you know, you see that in politics, right? The moment somebody endorses a specific person or
Or
posts
party.
someone
Right,
of
right.
it's boom,
Yeah.
like immediate,
Yeah.
like that's it. Like they're labeled. This is who they are.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm
Or
sorry.
you say you don't really care for a particular candidate. Oh, so you support this one. No, I don't like that one either. You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know,
and trust me, in 2020, we got a lot of that going on
a
right
lot of
now.
that. A lot of us are like, what's C? What's option C? Do we have a
Right.
C choice? Whoever
Yeah.
else, whoever is C, that's who they got me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of wonder, like, do we have a, you know, like, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how do we move this forward. I guess it's just, again, it's like even when you brought in your daughter, it's like, you know, you got to start training the next generation to not be so. I don't think labels will ever go away, but I
No.
think to not be so quick to use them and just throw someone in a box immediately.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
People shouldn't come with hashtags.
There's nothing we could do to stop it besides, I guess, just not using it and stop perpetuating it.
Right.
But
And
it's wrong.
it's snowballed. I mean, like I sent you that email the other day, you know, the screenshot. I mean, it's a promo from Pizza Hut talking about the $10, what did it say, Karen special? And I
Yeah.
was like, what
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
supposed to mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess because she won't complain about it because it's a good deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, really, like that's what we're using in advertising now. So like, how do you make this stop when corporations are like, oh, let's jump on this bandwagon?
Yeah. It's part of pop culture now.
Yeah.
Right. It's the safe word to say in pop culture. That's an insult, but nobody thinks it as derogatory, I guess.
Yeah. Like it's a joke. It's a joke.
It's purely a joke. Have you ever thought to yourself, like if you were to ever to just for the heck of it, like stood up in a situation where you know that you had to complain about something and just say, yeah, my name is Karen and I have a problem right now, like or whatever. Like, have you ever thought about that?
I've thought about it. I mean, but you know me, like I'm just kind of like, I'm just gonna suck it up and keep it moving because I'm not trying to have this fight today. You know, but you know, my kids have even made jokes if I, you know, say something, they're like, okay, Karen, you know what I'm saying? Like they,
Right.
you know, like they even use it as a joke, but it's like, you know, when you hear something repeatedly over and over and over, it's like, okay, well, and it's not with good intention, no matter what the word is or what the phrase is. I mean, obviously it's going to eventually wear on you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned to you, I deleted Facebook off my phone, the whole app. I mean, a lot of it's just political, just everything. But I mean, this probably was a part of it, was seeing these posts every single day. I was like, I'm done with it.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for sharing that part too. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of, you didn't say this, so I don't want anybody listening and saying, oh, no, she's overdoing it. But no, I think there is a level of trauma with that. Like and that's where that's like basically self-care comes into play. Exactly. And
like,
you're like,
my mental health, and I'm just tired of seeing it. I'll just take it off my phone. I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to be, at least if anything, more conscious of it. I mean, this conversation wasn't to necessarily solve the Karen problem, but more to like bring more awareness to the fact that like labels can get thrown out to people pretty quickly. And Karen, which is a popular one right now, does impact some people. There are some people that are watching this right now and like, you know what, my name's Karen and I don't care. But there's some people right now is watching this is like, thank you, somebody is addressing Karen in some form or fashion.
Right. I mean, because for them, it might not be Karen. It could be some other word that's used that, you know, whatever. I think there's like one for a guy that started recently. Like there's a male equivalent.
I didn't know there was a guy version.
Yeah, I heard recently someone made a comment about, now there's a male name that they're using.
Really?
Yeah. Like Chad, maybe Chad.
Really?
Yeah.
I know a couple good Chads, so I don't know.
I think that might be the name that they said. They were like, oh yeah, Chad is the male version.
Wow. So let me ask you this then, as we wrap up this short but important combo. If there's anything you were going to say to everyone about Karen, what would it be? If it, like, first thing that comes to your mind, what would it be?
I guess it would just be just like any other label, that not all are the same. And to really just think twice about your words in general, whether it's throwing out the name Karen or just anything else. I mean, we're such a culture and society of, sit behind a computer screen and say whatever you want to say, without recognizing that there are people on the other side of that you could be hurting.
That's really good. And you're right about that, about this. We look at this as like an inanimate object, right? A computer or whatever. And you're like, whatever, I'm just going to post it or put my, pick my phone up, make the statement, put it down. But like, it actually does impact people.
Right.
No, that's good. I really appreciate you talking to me about this and being open about this, and just sharing your heart, and your daughter coming in and making a comment. And thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And guys, those who checked it out, this is another short civil conversation with Matt Aguito and the Karen Foster. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.